Hi, I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Wednesday, September 27th, 2017, and we're just getting ready for live at 5 today. And Geof Hoge is going to be our guest. I'll fill you in on that coming up in about 8 minutes from now. But in the meantime, I do need to do some technical setup. So if you're right at the beginning of the YouTube video, you can fast forward about 9 minutes, and that's where the program really begins. The rest of this is a tech setup. So thanks for your patience. I actually got to go quiet for a little bit because it's a little bit geeky getting set up here. Some things I do in the background. And go over here. And grab that. Okay, now I'm just about to hit to go live on the We Get Around Network Forum. I'm going to just jump onto the page just to double check. I actually hit all the buttons right. And I don't see it, so let's go back here, see what I did wrong. And I see what I did for our live stream. Missing a piece. Let's see. And we'll try that again. Go back to this page. That's interesting. I did get an error message, so I haven't had that happen before. So let's do some troubleshooting. And we're going to close, 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 close. Leave that open. Okay. So, hey, I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Wednesday, September 27th, 2017, and we're just getting ready for WGAN-TV live at 5. Thanks for your patience as we get started. I got to go silent here just for a sec while I do a couple of geeky things to embed the player in the We Get Around Network Forum. Almost there. And grab that. Let's try that. Okay, let's hit this button. Okay, great. So we're now live on WGAN-TV, coming up at 5 o'clock. So hey, if you're just tuning in to the We Get Around Network Forum, I'm Dan Smigrod, founder. We're just getting ready for WGAN-TV live at 5. Today, Wednesday, September 27th, 2017. We're just finishing our tech setup. Our guest today is going to be Geof Hoge with 3D 360 Homes, a Matterport service provider, who is also the broker for Hoge Realty in Port St. Lucie, Florida. So that's coming up just in about 4 minutes from now. We do have a great program coming up tomorrow, Thursday. We have viewing founder Ryan Baxter. He will premiere his new 3D platform for Matterport service providers. So the platform is called Viewing, and it is a way for Matterport service providers to make recurring revenue. It's a pretty amazing thing. And the platform is totally free to participate, and then there's this revenue generating opportunity Ryan's been working on it for well over a year. He's going to premiere it tomorrow, Thursday, September 28th, 2017 on WGAN-TV live at 5. So excited to have Ryan on the program tomorrow. Coming up next week, all next week, we're going to be streaming AR, VR, MR events. There's some of the events coming up next week, so the times will change. Literally, these are live events in Atlanta, incorporating VR and AR into your business. New media chat about why Georgia is poised to lead the next wave of Hollywood innovation. I realize that's probably more interest to me, but if you're in a market where film, television is important, I think you'll want to watch. And because we'll have the president of Pinewood Studios, where all the Marvel pictures are made in Atlanta, I think it's just interesting for all of us in the community. We'll also have a session streamed live on VR training, why major brands are getting on board. So I think that's exciting. I just hearing from agencies that are involved in the space, talking about actual big brand clients that are doing fun, interesting things in VR. So that's exciting. It's coming up next week. So that's and tomorrow, Friday, no program. It's the Yom Kippur Jewish holiday, and so I will be off. Happy New Year to my fellow Jewish friends. So off tomorrow, no live programming Friday, September 29th. Our live streaming, again, picks up next week, starting Monday, October 2nd, and all live events next week. So that's pretty cool. So coming up in about 2 minutes, we'll start the program for today. Let's see. Let me just go back to this page. And I have standing by in our virtual studio audience is Geof Hoge, Hoge Realty, Port St. Lucie, Florida, and also a Matterport service provider, 3D 360 Homes, also in Port St. Lucie. So anyway, stay tuned for that coming up at the top of the hour. Some really interesting, exciting news in the We Get Around Network Forum. If you haven't had a chance yet to read the discussion about Matterport and Leica partnering in 2018, I encourage you to read the post. There's actually a couple related. Essentially, Matterport is making the platform open to high-end LiDAR scanning camera scanners, and it's very exciting news. I'll probably do an entire show just on this topic, but it doesn't make sense for Matterport to go to a higher end solution to build internally when they can license with companies like Leica that have cameras like the BLK 360. So it's very exciting, and I actually think it'll end up growing the space as there's more spotlight on this whole space of 3D, VR, point clouds, object files, just everything that's going on in this space. And I think this announcement that Matterport made in Europe this week with Leica, extremely exciting. So anyway, stay tuned. Just getting ready to start our program for today. In 5, 4, have to count that again. In 5, 4. Hi, I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Wednesday, September 27th, 2017, and you're watching WGAN TV live at 5. Our guest today in our virtual studio audience, Geof Hoge. Geof, good to see you.
Good to see you.
And very, very exciting to visit with Geof. He's in addition to being a founder broker, Hoge Realty in Port St. Lucie, Florida, Geof also has a Matterport service provider business called 3D 360 Homes. So Geof Hoge. Geof, first I really should ask you about the hurricane. You're about an hour and a half north of Fort Lauderdale. You're somewhat south of Jacksonville. How did you all do in Port St. Lucie?
It was windy and it was wet. but we were fortunate. I kind of felt guilty. We didn't lose power. We didn't lose anything. We actually binge watched Agatha Christie movies.
So good to hear that you're actually okay, and it
Oh
sounds
yeah,
like family, friends, everybody just,
that's right.
missed Port St. Lucie.
Yep.
Again, about an hour and a half drive from Fort Lauderdale, north of Palm Beach.
Right.
So you have a brokerage. Tell me first a little bit about your brokerage.
Well, I started it in 2008. Got into real estate in 2005 after retiring from UPS. And I wanted to get into the business and do something. When I started the company, I wanted to do something different. I saw that there were a lot of people out there that were charging additional fees for the privilege of doing business with them. So I said, well, I'll own the business and I can make that decision. My decision was I'm not going to charge anybody additional brokerage fees or administrative fees or whatever you call it for the privilege of doing business with me. So I wanted to do real estate my way. And my focus is more on the buyers and the sellers than on myself. And I think I'll uncover that a little bit more. I'll peel that back a little bit more later.
Okay, terrific. And so when did Matterport get on your radar?
Actually, my daughter sent me a screenshot or an article about Matterport, and I read it, and it was instantaneous. It was a eureka moment for me. She did that. She sent it to me, I think, late June, and I found a Matterport camera and purchased it. And this is going to be a game changer for real estate. The Matterport it's a total paradigm shift from the way we've always done it. 20 years ago, when you were buying property, you'd get a book from a realtor, and you'd look at the little 2x2 black and white picture on a page. It was typed out and printed. Now everything's different. Buyers are looking in the comfort of their own homes. They're on the internet. They're on their iPads or their iPhones, and they're looking through property. My daughter lives about an hour north of Atlanta, and she sent me a house that she's interested in just yesterday. And I thought, this is something that couldn't be done. I went online. I looked at the house, but I didn't see any Matterport to it. I'm looking at framed pictures. I'm thinking, what are you leaving out? Because you can edit what they see. You can't do that with a Matterport. Everything's in view.
So you get this article from your daughter. How much time did you spend researching this before you decided to buy?
Probably a day.
A day.
A day.
You just
Yeah.
it just immediately said eureka, literally.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was that instantaneous. I didn't know that this was out there. I know you all have been around for 3 years, but it didn't get as far south as me. I think we are a large city in Florida, but we don't have a whole lot of industry here. It's mostly a bedroom community with some up and coming industry, which is phenomenal.
So talk to me a little bit about the eureka experience, but from your seller's perspective.
Yeah, when I get a listing, I could go and I bought a camera, and I thought, okay, I've got a camera, I can go do this. And I would take pictures of the house, and I'd stack a whole bunch of pictures on the multiple listing. I'd try and find the best one to attract somebody to look at this listing. It could be the pool, it could be some fantastic feature about the house. With the Matterport, I can show everything. I can show every room. The buyer can go into the house and stand in the middle of the room and just look around. And I thought, this is amazing. I had a meeting yesterday with a local brokerage, because I've separated the two businesses. I don't want somebody to say, well, if I let him do my house, he's going to try and push me out of the deal as a broker. So I'm keeping the two separate. So I went to another agency, and I spoke to their agents, and I told them, I said, if you're a buyer's agent, you can wave that goodbye, because I don't think you're going to be around. People are going to be buying homes from the selling agent. The buyer's agent is going to be pretty much done away with. I see all kinds of reasons why somebody should look at a tour, the space on the Matterport. They can see the whole entire house. They can see everything there is to see about the house, and they can make a decision. I had done one within a month of buying the camera. My daughter and I got an agent in another agency that paid us to do a tour. and her house was on the market for 65 days as of yesterday. She's already got a contract on it. She's had 66 unique visitors. And I asked this group of people, how many of you have had more than a visitor a day going through your listing? And nobody had. Well, she had, the people that bought the house are in Tampa on the other side of the state. They saw the house, they walked through it, then they came over and bought it. Well, that's phenomenal. You can't do that with two-dimensional photographs. And some of the virtual tours you see, they're kind of clumsy. You know, they don't flow smoothly. The lighting is bad. And I love the way the Matterport does all that stuff. It does the white balance. It does the HDR photography. And it's just, to me, it's a win-win-win-win-win.
So imagine that I own a $1 million home in Port St. Lucie. Does that buy me a lot? I don't know if it buys me much in
Yeah,
Port
you get
St.
a
Lucie.
nice house.
I,
Yeah.
I'm on the ocean. Did it just
Yes.
go up like a couple more million? So
Yeah.
let's start with that. I have a $3 million house. I'm on the intercoastal and on the ocean, and I'm thinking about selling my house. And I have friends and colleagues that I understand are real estate agents or brokers, and my wife knows somebody who's a broker. But we sort of heard something about this Matterport stuff, and so we've invited you to pitch, even though we don't know you,
Okay.
because we discovered you online while looking at what our neighbors were doing, selling their houses. So maybe you could take me through that. Hey Geof, good to see you. Tell me why I should list my house with you.
Well,
Hey Geof, tell me why I should list my house with Hoge Realty.
okay. I'll give you one really good reason, um, other than the listing structure, but the benefit to you is that your house is available 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. I can have a dude sitting on his sofa in Dubai and looking at your house while you're sleeping. You've got a $3 million house. You probably have restricted access. So you don't want a whole bunch of people coming and going through your house. Why not let somebody have a QR code or a link, and they can see your house without stepping foot in your house, without inconveniencing you. And there isn't an aspect of any room that they can't see. We don't have the doors in the closet open unless it's a large closet and it's all cleaned out. But there's nothing about your house that's hidden. And somebody can walk through, take their time. They can send the link to their family. They can send their link to their investor. Say, what do you think of this? Or their money manager. This is a good investment. There's no reason not to put somebody in your house.
Well,
That,
I've been talking to some other, agents that have come to see me,
Mhm.
and they're all about increasing the number of people that come walk through my $3 million house. That we have a gated community. Why do I want less people coming through the house?
You don't want them bothering you. Your schedule's busy. You don't want people, if it rains, you don't want them tracking the rain through your house. Um, these people are coming through virtually. From my experience, we can get one person a day in your house from we don't know where. They're from all over the place. They may not even speak English. When we show your house, I can put a Matterport tag in the photograph, and they can hover over that and see that you've got impact windows. You can't see that unless you put a label on the window that says, "Hi, I'm an impact window." They can't tell. Um,
Yeah. How'd you know that we had those impact windows?
you got to where you live.
We love our view, incidentally, on the intercoastal and the ocean. My wife is quite excited about it, but we actually wanted to sell our house because we were interested in buying a bigger one in Port St. Lucie. So we hope you can help us with that as well. So I haven't really heard, like I saw this Matterport thing, but you mentioned that. Uh, um, I think I heard 24/7 open house that people can pre-tour the house from across the street, maybe across the ocean, and
Right.
maybe actually have more people tour the house virtually than we actually have virtual walkthroughs. Um, don't I really want to be inconvenienced with my make-believe kids and to pack them up and
Right.
move them out when, right when they come home from school? Uh,
Do you really need to hide all your valuables? Do you need to depersonalize your house for every time somebody walks through, or do you want to just do that one time? Some people are on prescriptions, and they don't want to have to remember. I've got to do something with my prescriptions. I've got to make sure my guns are locked up. I got to put my valuables away. You don't know who's walking through your house, but if it's a virtual tour, they're not walking out with your stuff.
yeah.
They can see what you've got. You only set it up one time, and this is a perfect time to do it.
So it sounds pretty good to me. Before I go forward with you to list our house, is there anything else I should know about this Matterport Spaces 3D tour?
Well, along with this, you can receive 25 um, two-dimensional photographs, which are HDR. They're white balance. They're beautiful photographs of each room or each space, and we can use that as kind of like a quick tour. You can have a two-dimensional blueprint drawn, which when the Matterport camera does its tour, it has got a laser rangefinder, I imagine, and it measures every room that we do. We take a couple of different scans in each room, so it knows the exact dimensions of each room. So we can print out a blueprint that you can use that's very, very accurate.
Well, I was looking at your Hoge Realty website, and I saw that you have many houses actually for sale that have these Matterport Spaces 3D tour. I think that's one of the things that attracted to me, to Hoge Realty. Was this that you seem to be very prolific, and I noticed the floor plans. I thought that was crazy, and the 3D tour, and the photos, and I think you actually had a video as well. Do I? So
Right.
a video. So, um,
And a virtual reality. If you have the software on it's free software you can download to your iPhone or your smartphone and put it in a set of goggles.
mhm.
You can hand them out to people, and they can just sit there and look a virtual tour.
Yeah. So I've heard of virtual reality or VR viewers, but I'm not quite sure what it is. So is that going to help me sell my $3 million house in Port St. Lucie?
Well, I think it would help me sell your $3 million house in Port St. Lucie. I'll give the buyer, the potential buyer, the headset and let them walk through the house. They don't have to be on a computer. They can be fully immersed in your house, and where they
Uh,
look, it takes them there.
it sounds very exciting. So let me see if I can come out of my role. I don't know. I'm so excited with my $3 million house, and the fact that I'm going to sell it, and you're going to get me a bigger house too. But we'll step out of that role. So this is kind of an interesting thing because I believe on your website you talk about 90% of potential buyers and sellers actually begin the process of looking for their next home, either buying or selling online.
Right.
Is it too soon to ask you whether you're seeing any inbound leads for exactly that reason?
Well, I've had the camera just a little over 2 months, and so I'm building this. I've used some We Get Around network partners to help me build a website, build a presence, and I'm thankful for that. And I'm just starting to get leads. I'm starting to get phone calls from people I don't know. They're not in my phone book, so I have to answer every phone call, even if it might be some quack trying to sell me a mortgage insurance or something like that. But it's exciting to see that the potential is there. In my area, I'm it. There's me and one other guy that I know of that has the Matterport camera, and he does the other end. I do the front end, and he does the back end. This guy is actually a home inspector, and he'll do the Matterport tour if they don't already have one, and he'll use the Matterport tags to identify problems or issues within the house that they inspected,
Hmm.
which is pretty
Cool.
radical.
All right, so let's get back to your business. So you're 2 months into it, but I think what I'm hearing is your expectations are offering Matterport is a way to generate inbound leads from people who are beginning the journey of looking to sell or to buy a house in Port St. Lucie. Is that fair to say that's your vision?
That is. What I've done is I've gone to builders and asked to do their spec homes. So some of the homes on my website, they're actually spec homes. The builder built the house. They don't have a buyer for it yet. I don't know. I can reach more people with a Matterport space on my website than I can waiting for somebody to come in and say, hey, you know, I'm looking for a 4,000 square foot house with 6 bedrooms. I don't see that many people that are that precise. But they filter themselves out online. They know what they're looking for. They can find it on the website.
So looking at the Hoge Realty website, I see it sounds like you're not a big fan of newspaper advertising and maybe billboards and some other things. So I suspect that part of what you're trying to do is use the technology to invest in the technology to get the inbound leads, reduce the cost of running your brokerage, and I believe you actually pass some of that savings actually onto the sellers.
I do. I've generated a very small financial footprint. So I don't have a lot of expenses. What I want to do is I want to pass that on to the sellers, because the seller is the one that pays commissions. So I reduce my footprint, so my need for finances isn't that great. Not as great as somebody that has a large office they have to support, a large staff they have to support, a large infrastructure. Yeah.
So, so you have that marketing in terms of savings bundled with Matterport, and that's, I think that's what I'm hearing is your focus, using Matterport to help generate inbound leads from those 90% of the people that are beginning their house hunting or selling journey online.
Exactly. I think the Matterport is as I said before, it's a game changer. I don't think we're going to look back 3 or 4 or 5 years from now and see what happened, because Matterport is just that this technology is just going to take over, and the people that are waiting are going to be the ones left behind. They're going to be the ones looking for other work. Anybody that is in real estate that doesn't use a Matterport is hurting themselves in the long run. They may be saving some money in the front end, you know, a couple dollars or a couple $100, depending on what size the contribution is. If they take their own photographs, everybody does that. I pulled up, talking about the $1 million listings, I pulled 100 of them in our area, $1 million or more. And of $100 million listings, I found 2 that had a Matterport scan as part of their virtual tour. I saw just about every one of them had 2-dimensional photographs, out of focus, not enough light, and the lead picture on one of them was sideways. $1 million listing, and you have to look like this to see it.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, it's frightening. It's frightening. Yeah.
I don't know how I got the listing.
So it sounds like there's a lot of upside for the high-end premium listings, which kind of actually, you know, brings me to this thing, you know, for anyone that's reading the We Get Around Network forum on a regular basis, I tend to frequently talk about win more and bigger premium listings more often, is that being the messaging from a Matterport service provider to a real estate agent or broker. Let me see if I can just break that down a little bit and just say, you know, am I coming from right field, or am I making sense here? So first, is your expectation that you should get more listing presentations to go on as people discover your listings with Matterport Spaces 3D tours?
Yes. From the seller's perspective, the word is getting out there through my website and through social media, and I did break down and buy a little tiny ad for the Sunday paper, so let people know that this is out there. But I'm also working with other realtors to get them off the starting blocks, that if they want to be in this business and they want to be successful at it, they're going to have to use it. They're going to have to get involved.
So we'll come to that when we talk about your service provider, Matterport service provider business. But I just want to kind of maybe do some validation of, am I coming from left field when I keep talking about helping an agent or broker get more listings? I think what I hear is, yes, that's your expectations, that
Absolutely.
that while you've been doing the Matterport thing for 2 months, your expectations is that you will get more inbound leads as people do the discovery online and discover what's different and unique about your listings.
Exactly.
The second thing I often talk about is increasing the closing rate.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, um, uh,
On the listing?
yeah, I don't know if you've been doing this long enough to share your percentage. I presume you know what percent that you close. Is that a number you feel comfortable sharing?
Well, I don't have any trouble sharing it because just about every listing appointment I've gone on, I've won.
Now, is that with Matterport or even before Matterport?
That was before Matterport as
Even
well.
before. Okay, so congratulations on that front. I think statistically, I think it's something like 60%.
Mhm.
That surprisingly, it's not as a large number as I would think. And obviously, you're doing something right where you're getting 100% of closing, getting the order from a seller to list the house for
Mhm.
sale. I think that the next thing would be to ask you, about, I always talk about it's a way to help an agent or broker win bigger listings. And I mean by that premium listings, trading up from, if you're doing 500,000 to be doing $1 million, if you're doing million, be able to do $2-3 million listings. Is it too soon to quantify? Has Matterport made a difference for you in terms of the size of the listing, the dollar amount of a listing?
It's a little too early to say that I've upsold or uplisted, if you will, if that's a word, any other houses, but the expectation is there. So my sites, instead of being at the average where I live, my sites have raised to the higher end, and I've got the confidence to back it up. I know I can walk into any home and I can walk away with a listing because I've got the nuclear bomb in my suitcase,
Mm-hmm.
if you will. Nobody can touch what I can do. And if a seller is serious and they want their house seen and they want people in their house, the best way I know to put eyeballs in a house is, I'll quote my phrase is, let the mouse show your house. Let me put your house on the listings. I'll do it on realtor.com. I'll do it in the multiple listing. I'll do it on the website. There'll be a virtual tour. You'll have your own unique URL for your house, and there's going to be a lot of eyeballs in your house, and you're not going to know it. You're not going to be bothered. So I can be anybody's listing presentation because I have a Matterport 3D Pro camera.
And I know you talked about that you are presently getting 100% of your listing presentations. Have you noticed it to be any easier in the last 2 months now that you've been offering the nuclear bomb in your suitcase when you walk in? This
Yeah, it's a
Matterport
lot
space
easier.
is.
It's a lot easier. I've shown the virtual reality goggles, and have you ever seen one of these? And just about every answer is no. What is it? Strap it on and take a look. This is what I do, or I show them on my iPad. This is what your house can look like. And here's the dollhouse view. Here's the floor plan view. And then let's take a tour. And this is what your house would look like. Of course, different furniture, different floor plan, etc.
Yeah. Are you using Google Cardboard, Samsung Gear VR?
No, I'm not using either of those. I went on Amazon and bought a pair of generic goggles, and I put my iPhone in it, and it works great.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. And on the virtual reality piece, is that just kind of like it's a big wow factor when you go in?
Yeah.
And do you have a sense that the seller is talking to other agents or brokers?
I don't think after that, if they've spoken to anybody before I got there, the conversation pretty much ends
Hmm.
because nobody's able to do what I can do. It's like I'm bringing Technicolor to a black and white field.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is talking in black and white. They're at slow motion pictures, or
Mm-hmm.
they're in the old talkies, the silent movies. That's the era they're in. I'm in 4K. I'm in the virtual reality. I'm in the future, and they're a couple decades ago.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this market is so big, it's going to take a while for it to catch up.
Yeah, I'm old enough to know the going from black and white to color. So and then from analog to digital,
Yeah.
and so it is that transformational. It's really exciting. Hey, if you're just tuning in, I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. You're watching WGAN TV live at 5. Today is Wednesday, September 27th, 2017, and our guest today is Geof Hoge. Who is a double hitter. He is both the founder broker Hoge Realty in Port St. Lucie, Florida, and is also has a Matterport service provider business, 3D 360 Homes. He's had a Matterport camera for about 2 years, and we're just talking first about his brokerage, and then we're going to get into a little bit into the Matterport service provider business. I'm still, I just want to follow up, Geof, in terms of uh, uh, what have I left off my list? If I talk to a Matterport pro who's approaching a real estate agent, a broker, uh, I just keep repeating this mantra, about getting more listings, win more listings, get bigger listings, bigger premium listings, and get more of these listings, which I kind of just paraphrase is, win more and bigger listings more
Yeah.
often.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that matters
I
from your
think I think show them,
show them?
show them, because the Matterport really speaks for itself. If when I show somebody on my iPad, I don't carry my goggles around, but if I do have my iPad with me all the time, when I just open it up and just show them what they can do and let them move it around with their finger, they're so impressed. Some of them get it immediately. It's an aha moment for them, like it was for me when I first saw it. Other
Mm-hmm.
ones, oh, that's nice. It's kind of a techie thing. Maybe, I don't do that kind of stuff yet. Well, if you don't do that kind of stuff yet, you're going to be looking for other work, because the people who are doing that kind of stuff are going to take your business. They're going to eat your lunch.
Now, I notice when I visit other Matterport service provider websites, and I see things like um, where they're promoting to an agent or broker. So I'm so thrilled to have you on the program today to talk to an agent broker who's right in there with Matterport. Um, if 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 a photographer is talking about their pitch to a real estate agent, we can help you sell the house faster. What does that mean to you as an agent broker?
Well, the Matterport statistics are, if you have a Matterport tour on your listing, it's going to sell 50% faster, 56% faster than other homes. It's not going to sit on the market as long. There are $8 million last year, I guess it was $8 million of homes that were sold without anybody walking in the house. The buyer never entered the house. They just bought it because of what they saw on the Matterport tour. I did that before I found Matterport. I would take my iPhone and I would do FaceTime. I did one with a buyer in Pennsylvania and another one in New York. And both of them bought the house just based on my FaceTime. Just walking through the house with them, showing them the house, backing up, looking at this, looking at that. And it was a two-way conversation. Now I don't have to do that. If they had a question, wait a minute, does that second bathroom have a door that goes to the pool? They can go back and look at the virtual tour. They can go back and look at the Matterport tour and say, yeah, there it is. In fact, the tile is a pretty color. We'll keep that. That's the game changer that Matterport is.
Well,
It's for everybody.
you're obviously very forward thinking, and sometimes we're all making presentations to those that may not quite be as forward thinking, and so I always struggle with telling someone, sharing with someone that we can help you sell your house. We can help an agent broker sell the listing faster, because I'm always calculating that it comes out of your pocket. So I always seem to try and say, No, no. If you're going to talk to an agent or broker, it's about getting the next listing. It's not about the listing they just got. Because if they already got the listing, then you're just another expense to help sell the house. And I would say for most agents, telling them that you're going to sell the house faster is really not. It doesn't resonate with them because in their mind, they're going to sell the house.
Yeah, they think they're going to sell it quicker because they've got it priced right and they've done all their marketing. But the buyers aren't looking at the Sunday paper. They're not waiting for the Sunday paper to come out so they can see that 2 by 2 inch front photograph of a house with a little bit of detail and say, that's the house I want to buy. I haven't heard anybody do that. Statistically, the National Association of Realtors has done a study of where buyers come from and where do they get the idea of this is the house they want to buy. And less than 3%, it's print advertising. That's a pretty low number to put a lot of money into. I'd rather put my money into something that works, and Matterport works. Matterport works all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if I mentioned this to you or not, but the listing that I got that sat there for 66 days already had a buyer from Tampa. I think I did mention that already.
We were talking a little bit earlier before the program, and so I think you might have covered that. Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was a listing from another brokerage, and the house has been on the market 65 days. It's been pending for a couple of weeks, and they've had 66 unique visitors to it. I can track that on my Matterport site. That's better than one visitor a day. And I asked realtors, has anybody here had one tour per day since they listed the house? And nobody has. But these people did, and the buyer came from Tampa. They saw the house, they took the Matterport tour, they liked it so much they wanted to come over here and buy it. Mm-hmm. So their mind was made up. All they needed to do was confirm it and make sure that the owners weren't, people that collected a lot of cats. Mm-hmm. That there was something that the Matterport couldn't tell them.
I want to try and ask the question a little different way because I know even last week, one of the clients, the potential clients that we get around was Atlanta was talking to. Really, the only reason that the agent reached out to us was because the homeowner actually said, I'd like to get this Matterport thing. And she was kind of caught in between where she got the listing, but now the homeowner is saying, I want it. It wasn't like the homeowner said, if you do the Matterport, then you'll have the listing. So she's trying to figure out, well, maybe I'll just scan one floor and, one bedroom, and I want to keep my costs down. And she's just, verbalizing out loud to say, I've done 30 listings this year, that I've already sold houses. I don't need this Matterport thing to sell the house. And I just turned around to her and said, you're absolutely right. You don't need this to sell the house, but you may need this to get the next listing, to get bigger premium listings, and to do more volume like that. And so, why not do this Matterport thing with a homeowner that actually would want to have it done, and then that might help you actually be maybe I don't know if I use the metaphor of yeast to bake the cake, but to have your first experience with Matterport. But she was pretty adamant that she didn't need the Matterport thing to sell the house faster because she would sell the house regardless. Particularly in Atlanta as a seller's market. And so I just, agreed with her and just shifted the conversation to, let us help you get more and bigger premium listings more often.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. If she's resistant to embrace the new technology that benefits the seller, that's not good. Somebody will be willing to embrace the technology to help the seller, and she's going to lose those future listings because whoever it is that does embrace the technology, they're the ones that are on the front end of the trend. And when the publications start printing, they're going to be the go-to experts in the area. And it's unfortunate to be left behind because you've always done it this way. The way we've always done it is not the way we should always keep doing it. Mm-hmm. As you said, we need to look forward and say, this listing is no problem, but what about the next three? And what about the increase in value? What about a better, higher quality?
Yeah, I know you mentioned retired from UPS. This is your new career, your
Yeah.
brokerage. You've been doing this for many years. Logistics seems to be the buzzword for UPS, and I think what comes to mind is you probably appreciate that if you can increase the velocity of how quickly homes sell, you can actually handle more listings
Exactly.
rather than the constant hand holding and whatever is involved in kind of trying to manage expectations of a homeowner who has some angst. Um, uh, let's switch gears a little bit. You're out talking to competitors, so you have this entire other business,
Mhm.
3D 360 Homes, a Matterport service provider business in Port St. Lucie, Florida, and you're out talking to your competitors about engaging you for Matterport spaces. Um, how, how, how do you feel about that?
Well, I weighed both sides of it. I could keep this to myself as a broker and use it for my brokerage only, and let them go find somebody else, or I could let this technology be available to them, where I can make some money doing what I do, and let them do something that they need to do. So, is it possible that that somebody maybe I come across an agent that isn't real happy with that other agency? Maybe they like the idea of being a forward thinker. Um, Maybe I strike up a conversation with an agent from another company, and they take me to bigger listings. And I enjoy doing it myself. My daughter, um, my granddaughter, we're all into this, and we enjoy doing it. So if I'm helping somebody else out and I just happen to get paid for it, that to me that's a win-win.
So you're happy doing the scanning, but you have family members that do scanning. So
Yeah.
there's a family business here. Is this helping another member of the family kind of get into their own business, or no? Just we're all working on this together.
It kind of is. My daughter is going to be retiring in about 4 or 5 years, so I'm looking at, well, okay, this could be something that she could do full time. I've got a son in Boston. I'd like to work the kinks out and then take it up to him, and then he and his wife can do this. Because from my perspective, I don't see a whole lot of competition. Where I am, there's not a whole lot of competition.
Hmm. Is
In
that good or bad?
Boston, well, it's good because I'm kind of a trailblazer, and it's the concept of primacy. The first thing you hear is the one you remember the longest. So I want to be the first one that brings it, and I'll be the Kleenex, if you will, of Matterport in Port St. Lucie, or on the Treasure Coast of Florida. So I had an agent yesterday ask me, would I go to Vero Beach? Yeah. I had a guy call me. I've got five properties that I'm flipping. Can you go from Melbourne to Miami? Sure. Can you? Another guy's got a high-end listing. He wants to meet with me tomorrow. His listing, I think, is down in Stewart. Can I go? Can I go do that? Absolutely. So I'll go wherever it is. I just enjoy meeting people and helping people out.
Isn't that awesome? I think what I'd like to do is actually share the screen right now and go right to your website for 3D 360 Homes.
Uh-huh.
Um, you can see that too. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I noticed that I think you're using WP3D models
Yeah.
to display your gallery there.
Yeah.
I thought maybe we just go through some of the things that you see as your talking points to a prospective real estate agent or broker to engage your services. We see your line there. Let the mouse show your house. Um, and how about taking us through some of these if you want to elaborate it on
Sure.
any of them?
Well, the basic question is, who needs it? Well, I've never heard of it before. Why do I need this? Well, if you want your house to spend 56% less time on the market, you need it. If you want to showcase your house on a single property website, you need it. If you want it available to a global market, you need it. If you live in a restricted community where there's a gate or a code or some way you can't get in, you need it. If you want to keep your schedule uninterrupted, if you want a two-dimensional floor plan, if you want to be part of the $8 million houses sold without the buyer entering the house, if you want to be able to show friends and family, you don't have to have the realtor come and open the house back up because grandma and grandpa showed up. You want to see it in a virtual reality headset. If you don't want the wet footprints tracked through your house, if you want to sell your house and use the best technology, and if you think 10 cents a square foot is a value you can't ignore anymore for all this. I think that I tried to put it in a nutshell so that it becomes available to everybody. I'm trying to answer the argument before the question comes up.
So when you're out, so I mean, this is so exciting because here you are, you obviously get it and go, like, duh, eureka moment. I'm just going to buy the camera. It just, okay, let's just go do it. It's not, all said and done. It's not that much money. Let's just, do it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, cost of doing business to test, try, learn, experiment.
Right.
So you're like here with your brokerage, you absolutely get it, and you're like so excited. So what happens when have you been doing it for 2 months? Have you walked into an agent or talked to an agent and broker, and they just don't get it? And what happens? Well, tell me about that conversation.
Well, I had a presentation at a different office yesterday, and there were probably 25 agents there. And afterwards, I had some people came up to me and, wow, other people, they were lost in thought. They were somewhere else. They didn't get it. And I was showing them the virtual tour of a house that I did for one of the agents in that brokerage, and told them the story that this was purchased by somebody in Tampa that didn't even see the house, didn't even walk into the house until they'd already decided to buy it. It's an emotional decision. House buying is emotional. It's not analytical. People see the house, they go, yeah, I can fit in this room. I like this. It works for me. I like the layout. It's an emotional connection. And Matterport starts that process before they even get to the house. You can't.
And have you had, but you must have people who you talk to and they say, okay, thank you. Let me think about it and I'll get back to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to penetrate the builder market as well. So for those people who have the Matterport camera and are looking for things to do, go talk to builders. They've got spec homes, they've got models. And what an advantage for a builder to have their model. It's decorated, it's set up one time, get it all cleaned up, do a virtual tour, do the Matterport scan of that model, do that space, and then give them the branded and the unbranded. Well, they don't need the unbranded, but give them the branded link so that they can put it on their website. Anybody that wants to see it. I mean, we just had the hurricane come through here. We have a thing on Thursday morning at the Realtors Association called Marketing Madness. Interestingly enough, the first day we get back from the hurricane, the following Thursday, the tour that we were scheduled was Hutchinson Island, which is a barrier island on the ocean. We didn't have any houses to go show. It was in lockdown. But if these guys that were on the island with their couple $100,000 condos or homes, if they had a virtual tour, if they had a Matterport tour, we could have sat in the office at this big group and been touring the house virtually. They couldn't do it because they didn't have it. So we didn't go anywhere. I'm thinking, what a lost opportunity. It's the same thing if somebody's up in Boston and they want to see what the house looks like in Florida. They can see it. They can move around, and it's just another connection, another way to bring a buyer and a seller together.
I imagine that group, you have a little bit of an advantage because you are a broker and you are part of that group. I know that in the We Get Around Network Forum, there's at least been a couple of discussions about brokerages that it's pay to play. You have to pay $500 a year, or $800 a year. That may not be in Port St. Lucie, but there's been, even in Atlanta, I think I was invited to pay $800 a year in order to show up at Keller Williams for bring donuts and my opportunity to pitch. Is that a good investment of money, or no? Don't do that.
If you're a Matterport service partner, then I would say contact your local Realtors Association and ask them what the cost is to become an affiliate member. As a 3D 360, I'm a regular member, and I'm a member of the board of directors here at the third largest or second largest Realtors Association in the country, Realtors Association of Palm Beach and Greater Fort Lauderdale. We have a huge footprint. So I'm a member of that and a member of the board of directors, but I'm also, as an affiliate, 3D 360 Homes. Now I've paid to play I can sponsor a breakfast to all the realtors, but when I go to an individual office, I don't pay for that. I may bring goodies, and like I did yesterday, a raffle, because what I want to do is I want to get everybody's card. So I say, okay, I'm going to give you a $25 Amazon gift card, but I need everybody's card in this little bucket.
I was going to amp it up. Have you thought about? I know that I think there's been some discussions in the forum about if you can get 25 agents or brokers in the room, is to say I'm going to do one for free of someone in the house in the next 3 months. So put your card in
Yeah,
because you don't enter, you can't win.
that's right.
Is that too big an offer to make? Is to say I'll do a no charge scan for the winner from today's drawing. So pay attention about what you can visualize you're going to get.
It's probably bigger than what they expect here locally, and there's some kind of a value versus kickback. Like if you referred somebody to me to buy a house, I could not do anything more than give you a token, a $25 gift card as thanks. But if you had a real estate license, I could pay you 25% of my commission as a thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some things that we can't collect a lot of money for.
Mm-hmm. So that sounds like is that something that Matterport service providers should be thinking about? Is getting licensed, even if they don't plan to sell houses, just simply so that they can refer business?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I would get a license, and I'd hang it with a referral company, where you don't have to join them with the board of directors or the Realtors Association. You simply have an active real estate license, and I've got an agent. I've got another company that does that, and I've got one agent that is Florida licensed, lives in Utah. So she refers friends and family out there in Utah. She gets paid 25% of their commission, and I pay her as her broker.
Mm-hmm.
So I pay her her commission
Yeah.
through the company.
I think one of the things I was thinking about, many of the community struggle in terms of business development, either because they're, no matter what price you give the real estate agent, they want it done for half, or whatever. So is to say, well, maybe you should, even as a Matterport service provider, an MSP, to market directly to homeowners, and to say to the homeowners, we provide a free, you as a homeowner get free. You get a 3D tour, you get photographs, you get a video, you get a map that shows where, and it's all delivered in this nice, what we call a single property website that we've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And and your agent will do this totally free for you. And if your agent won't do it for you, we're happy to introduce you to an agent that will. And therefore, what happens is the agent would pay the photographer full price
Uh-huh.
for all the services the photographer is doing. But I think what I'm also hearing is a potential to actually, if you're also licensed, to actually get a commission
Right.
for that introduction, in addition to getting the shooting the Matterport video, photos,
Yep.
and whatever else. In terms of business development for 3D 360 homes, is it too early to know what's working for you best? Is because you are on the board and you are deeply integrated, that's really for you? That's where you should be spending your time talking to other agents and brokers.
Well, I don't play that card. It just kind of happened because we had the merger and they needed some leadership. I was on the board a couple years ago, and they asked me to come back to finish out this year to help them out, and I said sure. And then I found the Matterport, so now I'm busier than I expected to be busy. So because of the Matterport, being in it 2 months, it's getting Facebook, it's getting Twitter, it's getting all this stuff set up with this other company, and getting the word out. One of the agents I spoke to had no idea I was a realtor or a broker or on the board of directors.
Well, actually, let's talk about that for a moment, because you have two distinctly different brands.
Uh-huh.
Why?
Because I didn't want to have them combined and have the realtor community look at me with suspicion if I'm trying to help them with a Matterport, to think that I'm going to try and siphon off their business. That's their business. I don't want to. I want them to be successful, and they'll use me more, and I'll have to buy another camera. Oh well, and I'll have to go wider and deeper. My plan is not to just sit here and do this kind of on the weekends, but to be active in it and then grow it to family members north of you in Dahlonega, and then up in Boston. I think it'd be really cool.
So you have a separate website, a separate email address, any and everything that's related to marketing. You have a Chinese curtain or whatever it's called in your house, Chinese wall, that
Yeah.
separates the two. So it sounds like that would be your advice if you're watching this on the We Get Around Network Forum, WGAN TV, and you're seeing this, and you're a real estate agent and a broker, and you're thinking about having a side business too. I think what I'm hearing from you is absolutely have to set up a separate brand identity. Otherwise, you are at risk of talking to agents and brokers and saying, you may be poaching some of my business.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want
Yeah.
that to happen. I want to help them be successful in their own right. I think I'll be successful in my own right. And I think I'm going to be more successful because of Matterport. I don't think it's going to be, I don't think it's the name of the franchise that brings the business. I think it's what you do for the customer that brings the business and brings repeat business and referral business. So I see this. I don't know. We talked about UPS. Do you remember back? It must have been 15 years ago. The commercial with the guy that just launched his website, and they had a little paper bag, and they started to get the clicks on the website, and it got to be so bad that they had to breathe into a paper bag because they were hyperventilating. I think that's what's going to happen with Matterport. I think once it starts to flow, it's going to be a cascade of business. It's going
Yeah.
to be incredible, and we're going to need paper bags because that's what's going to happen to us. Oh my gosh!
Can you do that again? That was very exciting. That was very exciting. I wish I had a paper bag. I'm hyperventilating hearing how excited you are, that I am so excited that we know that we are on, all of us are on the verge of something very exciting. We all intuitively knew we were all first quintile leaders, innovators, and said, "Oh, we just have to, get this thing because we may be early, but we don't want to be late." Uh,
There's a book. I want to bring this up. There's a book that an affiliate mentioned at a realtor's, and I've downloaded it to my iPad, and it's been there sitting there for years. It's called Blue Ocean Strategy, and it defines this that we're talking about. There's the red ocean strategy, the red ocean, which is where there's all competition and everybody's fighting for everything that there is. And then the blue ocean is where there is no bloodshed. It's blue ocean. You're out there, you're setting the pace, you're doing it, and you have no competition. And I feel like I've moved from the red ocean to the blue ocean because I've got Matterport. Yeah, I'm doing real estate, but I don't have any competition. And I'm serious. I don't have any competition here. Somebody that's been around longer than me, probably. Somebody has a fancier, nationally recognized brand name, probably. But they can't do what I can do for a customer.
well, first, in terms of the blue ocean, when we will take our live interview today, have recorded it, and we will post it in the We Get Around Network forum. We'll also include the link to the Blue Ocean book and some of the videos related. Certainly how we run our business in Atlanta. So happy to hear there's another person swimming in the blue ocean and not the red ocean.
Yeah.
In fact, this is probably such a great topic. We'll save blue ocean marketing for like a whole nother episode and talk about it, because it is just that important for any and everyone. And if you've never heard this term, buy the book, watch a video on this topic. But I wonder, you've made the transition, if we're back to the Hoge Realty, you've made the transition to the blue ocean from the red ocean. You now have a way to differentiate yourself, to have a competitive advantage, to win more and bigger premium listings more often. But you have this MSP business on the side where you're ready to maybe create some more red ocean. You're not worried about that.
No. I see that as a win-win. Again, if I help somebody else become successful, then I'm going to be lifted up with the same force. If I help somebody else be prosperous, then I think then that's just going to help me be elevated. I'm not focused on me. If I focused on somebody else and help them become successful, I'll just reap that reward. But I'm not killing myself to do it. I'm helping somebody else.
Yeah, let me just amplify that message, because whether you're helping somebody sell a house or buy a house,
Right.
or you're a photographer out talking to a real estate agent, you got to be focused on them, what matters to them, and helping them. And when you help someone else succeed, you'll succeed faster.
Yeah.
Do you have we're just in the last few minutes? Do you have any either things that you're so excited about that are working for you for business development in this world of Matterport, either on the real estate or on the MSP side, or yeah, I just, because you mentioned you don't play the real estate card for your Matterport business. So, um, what's working for you in terms of business development, or where are you spending your time? There's a lot of members that they just aren't busy, and so they got a lot of time for business development. There's so many things that you can do for business development. What's working for you? What are you spending your time on?
Well, when I got my Matterport and I got my business, I registered it, got my business cards. Then I joined the Realtors Association, became an affiliate member, and I told them I want to be able to sponsor like a breakfast, not a full on breakfast, but like the Marketing Madness Thursday morning thing. So I sponsored it last Thursday. I asked if I could be put on the waiting list because they didn't have anything until 2018. Lo and behold, somebody canceled, and it was a premium time because the best areas just happened to be that last week. The area where I live, Tradition, was on the tour, and PGA. Now, this is great. So I had a whole bunch of agents there. I had a whole bunch of affiliates, and I was able to guide them through a Matterport scan of the space of one of the houses that I did, and they were just aghast at what they could see and what I could do for them. That they were just flabbergasted, and people that have $700,000 listings and $1 million listings came up to me later and said, I've got to get this for my seller. Yeah, you do. So if there was a Matterport camera owner, focus on the realtors, talk to the builders in your area. The builders have got stuff they've got to get out. The small guys, even not necessarily the national brands. That's too many layers of decision making. But the small guys just getting started, the mom and pops, the flippers, somebody that wants to sell a house. If you get the word out, you're going to be very, very busy.
Terrific. Before we wrap it up, anything else that you want to share?
No, I'm excited about on the real estate side. I've got some other initiatives I'm doing that I think are going to be phenomenal because I see the direction that's going. I watched the property guy, the property man, and he interviewed a fella, and I noticed that Matterport is part of his lead in now. He's got the Matterport scan. He shows the dollhouse view in that. I don't know if you'd seen that or not, but he interviewed a broker who said, why do I charge a seller more to do the same thing based on the value of his house? If I'm going to do a Matterport scan, I'm going to charge the guy the same amount for the same house, no matter what the value is. Why wouldn't I do that as a broker? Why would if your house is the same size, if you have a $600,000 house and a $300,000 house, why would I charge you twice as much as a $300,000 house if it's the same size? I'm doing the same work. So what I'm doing is I'm putting that word out there for sellers. Talk to me. I'll give you the Matterport. I won't charge you the exorbitant listing commission, and I'll provide a professional designer to come in and give you suggestions on how to stage your house so it'll sell. To me, that's a win-win-win. Everybody.
Geof, it's been awesome visiting with you today. We've been visiting with Geof Hoge. He is the broker owner of Hoge Realty in Port St. Lucie, Florida. Also has a Matterport, an MSP business, 3D 360 homes, also in Port St. Lucie, Florida. Though as we've been listening, it sounds like growing beyond Florida, and Dahlonega is certainly north of Atlanta. So very, very exciting visiting with you. If you stand by with me just one moment, I just want to say, hey, all, thanks for watching. I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. A really great show today visiting with Geof. If you've missed part of it, we will have recorded it by tomorrow. We'll post it in the We Get Around Network Forum. I think if you're a real estate agent or broker and you're thinking about getting Matterport, I think hearing it firsthand from Geof, it was a no-brainer, eureka moment, and just immediately went for it. If you are an MSP, if you're a Matterport service provider, and you're struggling with your presentation, talking to an agent or broker, I think hearing what Geof has had to say today probably tremendously helpful to help you fine tune your presentation. So Geof, thank you again. Thank you all for watching WGAN TV Live at 5 today from Port St. Lucie, Florida, and from Atlanta, Georgia. And Geof, I've stopped recording. We're still live for the moment. I'm going to disconnect, and we're still live in YouTube. But if you don't mind, I just wanted to say thank you again. Thank you so much for being on the program today, and very much appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks for putting it together.
You bet. Okay. Look forward to visiting with you more at another time. Thanks again. Feel free to drop off. I'm going to talk about what's coming up tomorrow and next week for those that are still with us. So thanks again, Geof.
Thank you.
On tomorrow's program, we have tomorrow, Thursday, September 28th, 2017, we have viewing founder Ryan Baxter. Ryan is going to premiere his 3D platform for Matterport service providers. This to me is super exciting. It's a free platform. He's got a special offer for We Get Around Network Forum members, and it's an opportunity in the long run to make residual income make money on an ongoing basis. And so viewing is an example of one platform. There are other platforms, and there are more platforms coming. And so this is really exciting that you'll have other uses for your Matterport Spaces 3D tours and other ways that you can help your existing clients. So that's coming up tomorrow. Viewing founder Ryan Baxter premiering his 3D platform for Matterport service providers. On Friday, September 29th, is the Yom Kippur holiday, a Jewish holiday. I will be off. Happy New Year to my Jewish friends. And coming up the following week, next week, the week of October 2nd, we're going to diverge a little bit from our live at 5, and we're going to do WGAN TV live events. So you can check out the program schedule if you're looking at the little box over here. Right below it says Join Virtual Studio Audience. It says WGAN TV program schedule. If you check out the schedule for October, I guess I should point down here a little bit to just get that right. If you check out the schedule, you see that there are a lot of live events that we're going to be streaming next week, the week of October 2nd. I always find going to conferences really stimulating, whether it's on the exact topic I'm interested in or other topics. Always get new ideas, spend time with other people. It's always a good thing. So the specific live streams that we're going to do, incorporating virtual reality and augmented reality in your business. In some cases, they're agencies presented. In some cases, it's clients or both. There's another panel, new realities, augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality. And then another event, virtual reality training, why major brands are getting on board. So I think that'd be great to really hear some. And these are pretty much agencies that are virtual reality. Somehow when they present, I think, oh, well, that's what we do. We create 3D and VR of real indoor spaces. Most of these agencies are creating animated worlds in 3D and VR, and I think that's important for you to hear as a creator of real content. If you're creating Matterport spaces, for example, because you'll see that there are a lot of big brands spending big bucks using agencies to create VR, AR, MR. This alphabet soup of stuff, and so I think that's really good to check out. Maybe one unrelated topic I'll be streaming. It's called New Media Chat: Why Georgia is Poised to Lead the Next Wave of Hollywood Innovation. I would imagine that part of the discussion will be virtual reality. I think maybe even more importantly, it's the president of Pinewood Studios in Atlanta. This is the place where the Marvel movies are filmed. And so it should just be fun, interesting, and entertaining to hear. Here in Atlanta, we were always seeing street closed and signs that are related to the movie, or these camps where all these motorhomes are, because they're filming this, that, or the other. So if you're in a market that has film and TV production, I think you'll find it particularly interesting. If you're just interested in all the superheroes and Marvel and superpowers and stuff, I think just hearing from the president of Pinewood Studios will be interesting. So anyway, that's all next week. We won't specifically have a live at 5, so the time of the live streams will depend on when the conference is that I'm going to. This is literally 100 events in Atlanta all next week on digital, mobile, social, VR, AR, MR, entertainment, etc. And so I'm streaming the ones that are, I think, most relevant to the We Get Around Network Forum community. Before I wrap it up, I just want to talk a little bit about one of the discussions that's going on in the We Get Around Network Forum community now. Really, it's a super interesting topic. I think I probably need to take a sip of water before I get all excited about it. So just give me a moment here. Thank you. Thanks to Peter McCready. He was the first to post on Matterport and Leica partnering in 2018. This is a super exciting topic. I'll probably do an entire show just on this topic. Matterport has opened up its platform, and my impression, this is the first of likely many LiDAR scanner / cameras that will publish to the Matterport platform. Probably better to say processing and hosting, but publishing might be the right word. So that just opens up all kinds of interesting possibilities. I know even in the last year or two, we've had many discussions about using LiDAR scanners in certain applications, and where Matterport may not exactly be the right solution. And so now there are these under $10,000 cameras coming. The Leica BLK 360 is an under $20,000 solution, which is actually considered inexpensive in the LiDAR space. So it may very well be that you have opportunities where it makes sense for you to kind of live in both worlds of being able to buy a Leica BLK 360 when you have your first project that warrants it, and still have the benefit of publishing, hosting, and processing and hosting in the Matterport cloud. Now, I could be fuzzy on my details. I think that this all should work just like Matterport, because if you're doing a LiDAR camera, is actually doing essentially what Matterport is doing, only it's doing it on steroids. So even to the dollhouse, as long as the camera is capturing both data and photography. And as I recall from SPAR 3D conference in Houston back in April of 2017 that I attended, that the magic of the Leica BLK360 was that it took the photography and it took the scanning. So used to be that you had just scanners, and then over here you had just 360 cameras, and then along come Matterport and mashed the two together, the data and the photography. And so now you're starting to see LiDAR cameras like BLK360 kind of add the photography piece to it. And so they came at it from a different place where scanning and accuracy was important, but then clients were asking for the photography. And then you have Matterport where you're doing the photography and adding the data and for many of you, you don't even use the data file, but it's really important. It's really super important that the data is really the magic of Matterport. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that this mashup of the Matterport platform and the Leica Leica BLK360 camera / scanner is extremely exciting, and I believe that this is the first of likely many LiDAR scanners. And so if you think of Matterport putting out millions of infrared dots per second and is capturing data, there's some challenges in terms of accuracy when you get to super large spaces, and there's a reason you'd want to switch to a higher end LiDAR solution. So I think now it's kind of like, if you drive a Camry, you can now, there's an upgrade option where you can go to a Lexus. And I think, Matterport needed the what's next piece, and frankly the first camera to be announced, I think is something that many of us in the We Get Around Network forum have actually been drooling about. So in terms of specific use cases, and so now we can have our cake and eat it too. So there's a whole discussion on this topic in the We Get Around Network forum. And then I personally believe, I could be wrong on this, but I actually think that that all 360 cameras will eventually have an opportunity to publish to the Matterport platform, similar to Google Street View. So some of you may have read some of my coverage from the 2007 Google Street View summit in Tokyo back in May of 2017. I think there were 18 camera companies that made announcements. Google announced 4 different standards for certification for cameras. It was very exciting. I think if I was Matterport, I'd be all over studying what Google did to say, maybe we should have the same program so that all 70 of those cameras can publish to 70 360 one-click cameras can publish to our platform as well. And you might say, well, but what about the data? The data is so important to all the things that we're doing. There's this whole process of photogrammetry that says you don't really need to scan the data, collect the data in order to create what we think of as a Matterport Spaces 3D tour. You just need to take your pictures close enough together in order for this photogrammetry magic to happen. So I could be completely wrong. I'm not a tech. I'm just geeky, and from my understanding, even in the forum, if you read about Cubix, CUPIX, Cubix.com, they're an example of creating something sort of similar to Matterport using photogrammetry, and that you could really use any 360 camera to create. So I don't think I'm making this up. I think the world's getting really exciting. So if you're a Matterport service provider, you might be saying, well, yeah, but I have this competition coming. Well, actually, I think it will grow the space. The more of us that are actually doing what we're doing, I think it actually just makes for more business for everybody. It actually doesn't take away and create competition. I suppose that's a good discussion. We Get Around Network forum. Take a look at the discussion. It's labeled Matterport and Leica partnering in 2018. And you can, if you forget and you want to come back to it, you can always use the keyword either I think Leica or BLK360. Those are tags to help you find content in the forum. Anyway, that's a lot for today. You've been watching WGAN-TV live at 5 on Wednesday, September 27th, 2017. If you missed any of our interview with Geof Hoge during the 5 o'clock hour, we have recorded that. It'll be processed and posted by tomorrow, Thursday, to the forum, and encourage you to take a look at that. If you're not a member of the We Get Around Network Forum, it's free. There's 15 membership benefits. I encourage you to join. As soon as you join, you get a letter from me. The letter includes the 15 membership benefits that you get. We've done a whole video just on the topic of the benefits. We did 14 benefits in the video. We've since added a 15th membership benefit. So if you're not a member of the We Get Around Network Forum, highly encourage you, please join. Totally free, and you get 15 free membership benefits for doing so. And if you are already a member of the We Get Around Network Forum, we have about 10,000 visitors a month, 3,300 registered members in 104 countries. Thank you for being part of the We Get Around Network Forum community. I think we're together collectively doing something magical in terms of starting a movement to help us all succeed faster by giving and getting help. So please join in the discussions. If you're presently just reading, that's great, and I hope you're getting a lot out of what you're reading, but you probably have things to contribute, and at the very least you have questions, and don't be shy about asking. We started the forum because we all had questions when we began. My wife and I take tango lessons. We've been doing it for 10 years. And sometimes we dance with newbies, and they're all a little bit, like, oh, so sorry, and I stepped on your toes, or, whatever. And, our answer is you got to step on a lot of toes to learn tango. So don't feel shy just because you're new and you're afraid the question has been asked. Yes, please use the search box and see if it's already been asked. But, ask those questions. At the very least, publish, your first Matterport scan and ask the community for input about it. So anyway, that's kind of our program for today. Again, thanks for tuning in for WGAN TV live at 5.